Hello teacher, in this video we are going to talk about layouting, and for some people they find layouting as another interesting and fun part of campus journalism, as this involves page designing. And as we know it, some of the people are very creative and they want to design some pages, and they may use softwares or computer applications in which they can create different designs. And so with the layouting, we will try to learn how to create a good layout for a campus paper. And specifically in this video, we are going to talk about, of course, the basics of layouting, including the page designs and the do's and don'ts of layouting. So let's start with the definition of layouting. So layout is also known as the makeup. So just like how we understand the word makeup, so like the beauty products, so just like makeup, we put it on our faces, especially for the girls, to make us more presentable. And so that's the role of layout as well. So in the campus paper, so layout makes the campus paper presentable. So layout is also considered as the window dressing of a page. And just like when we look outside the window, so what kind of scenario do we want to see? So of course we want to see gorgeous or phenomenal, beautiful, peaceful scenario. And so that's why we have rules for the do's and don'ts later on to be discussed, and that could help us create a good layout or page layout. Now, layout consists of what? Of course, what can we see in the picture? This has illustrations or the photographs, or when it's on an editorial page, we have the cartoon editorial, and we also have the text or articles, basically the news story or feature story or editorial column, sports story, and whatsoever, as well as the graphics. So there are some other graphics applied by the layout artists. Okay, so layout also includes the selection of what? When we lay out, it's very important to choose good font styles, font size, and colors. So when we say font styles, like just like this one, so what do we need to make sure is that it is readable enough, and also the font sizes, if that's the most important news for that day, it should have the bigger font size than compared to other stories. And also the colors. So just another idea, feature page. When you lay out the feature page, you must make sure that there is a feminine aura in the feature page, because that's just how it goes. Kasi feature page more on emotions, feelings, right? So more on feminine dapat mayroong feminine touch kumbaga yung page. And so you have to consider the colors as well of the photographs, if they harmonize with other parts of the layout. And so now let's talk about the types of layout, and it's very important to learn this one since we are going to apply this as well later on. So medyo dapat po natin tutukan. So we have two types of layouting, the conventional and the modern layouting. In conventional layouting, of course, it's the old method of layouting. So, it uses layouting paper. However, since we do not have dummy paper, okay, layouting paper or the dummy paper, DUMMY, we may also use graphing paper, since graphing paper have it's equally divided, or mayroon siyang grid that could easily help the layout artist to identify the balancing or to set the proportionality of the parts of the layout. Okay, so here are some symbols that we need to remember for conventional layouting. Again, kindly take note of this as you are going to apply this later on. So boxes, just like this one, a box with an X, these represents pictures. You use boxes for pictures, and lines for headlines, just like this one, lines for headlines, and arrows for text. Let's say, take a look at this one. kapag po yung arrow, yung direction ng arrow is ganito, ibig sabihin po, yung text is yung direction po dito. And then, if naputol, the next paragraph would continue on this part and then the end. Okay, so this means this is another news story, and this is the text, and another news story, then text, news story, then text, or the headline or text. Okay, so I hope you remember the three major symbols, or the only symbols for conventional layouting. And now let's talk about the modern. Of course, for the techie people, usually, and also for the big companies. Okay, so they make use of software and programs like ito siya, Microsoft Publisher. I have tried this one kasi murag more, di ba, Microsoft na kasi siya. So, kanang murag, saan siya? Package na siya pagka install sa Microsoft. And Adobe InDesign. Okay, so this is, as based on my experience, this is usually used by the big companies again, mga big printing press, like Adobe InDesign, usually used by, companies like they are printing for yearbook and so on and so forth. And I forgot what's the software used by some publishing companies. So, again, ito lang, examples lang po ito ng mga softwares na ginagamit ng mga layout artists in the modern era. Now, here is a very, fun fact. Okay, so this is the lorem ipsum. Okay, lorem ipsum is the dummy text of the printing and typesetting industry. Let's say, for example, wala ka pang news story, and so, tapos naatasan ka na mag-layout muna. Okay, mag-layout ka muna. So, since wala ka pang news story, ito po muna yung text. Ito muna yung, kumbaga, yung text na ilalagay mo sa layout just to make sure na merong balance when it comes to the words, the arrangement of words. Okay? So, the term for this is the lorem ipsum, and this is actually in Latin. The language used is in, Latin. So, now, yeah, here it is. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet. I don't know how to read that one, and what does this mean? Okay, so now let's talk about the newspaper sizes. We have 3 newspaper sizes, and we have the broadsheet, the burliner, and the tabloid. Okay, so I know you're already familiar with the huge size, the biggest size of the newspaper. Usually, ito po yung mga sizes ng national newspapers, especially dito sa Philippines. So, like, for example, the Philippine Daily Inquirer, Manila Times, like, diba, sa local natin dito, or sa Sunstar Davao, Manila Times ba, or Manila Bulletin. So, something like that. And the burliner, ito usually yung ginagamit ng mga school papers. Okay? And then the tabloids, if you are familiar, ito yung pinakamaliit na maliit na size ng newspaper. If you can still remember the Brigada News, yung Bisaya gani na newspaper na ginabaligya sa terminal before nga tag 10 pesos. So, tabloid po ang tawag dyan based on size. And yeah, so let's just remember the 3 sizes of newspapers. It could either be broadsheets, a burliner, and tabloids. Okay, so now let's talk about the different parts of front page. Okay, we have here the nameplate, ears, banner, headline, deck, columns, cutline, and byline. Okay, so the nameplate is engraved or printed name of the newspaper. So, if you can still remember during our elementary or high school years, okay, yung school papers natin, may kanya-kanya pong names. Like, for example, yung sa Monte Vista Central Elementary School, I don't know if they changed it, but during my time, it's in Filipino, it's ang pananaw, and in English, it's the Vistans Digest. Okay, so that's actually the name of the newspaper. And during my high school, it's the Filipino school paper. The name of it is Ang Batingaw, or yung bell. And then for the English is the academe. Okay, so yeah, for you, you have when you will be teachers indebted soon, so maybe you'll be able to think different nameplate, especially if kanang kuan wala pa na-establish ang campus journalism kaayo sa school nga ma-assign na ninyo. So yeah. And next, the ears. So ears, just like an ear, the position of the ear, it's on the side of the head, okay, of our heads. And so ears are the little boxes on either side of the nameplate. So ito po siya yung nameplate niyo, pangalan. And so the ears are here. So ano po ba yung usually nilalagay sa ears, okay? So yung nakasanayan ko po during when taking consideration yung mga school publications, basically po yung nakikita dito is yung school logo and then yung publication logo. And pwede din po, it could be about how about mga newspapers na mga gina-release sa local. It could be weather conditions or weather forecasts for that day, or meron silang gustong i-feature na mga bagay. So yun po yung nilalagay dito sa ears. Excuse me. And next is the banner. Okay, so banner is the principal headline. If you can see here, just like this one, Clinton ends deadlocked peace talks. And so, yung banner po kasi is the most important news of the day. So, dapat po, siya po yung pinakamalaki, yung, kumbaga, siya po yung, pinaka-importante, then siya po yung may pinakamalaking font size, kumbaga, sa lahat ng mga headlines dito na makikita sa inyong front page ng newspaper. And a banner may or may not run across the page. Just like, for example, Clinton ends deadlock peace talk. So, nag-run siya across the state, or across the page. So, gihurot siya niya, no? So, it could also be na dili po siya mahurot. Let's say, for example, Clinton ends deadlock peace talks or something, naputol siya, and then yung layout dito is, instead of dito yung picture, dito siya nakalagay. So, later on, we will discuss about page designing anyway. So, now, we have here the running head. Diba yung headline po, again, is the top, kumbaga, the title of a news story or an article. And so, running head is the term we use for headline made up of 2 or more lines. Just like, for example, this one. So, this is considered a running head since meron po siyang 3 lines. Okay? So, running head. And now, let's talk about the deck. So, deck is subordinate headline placed below its mother headline. Let's say, for example, ito siya. Ito yung mother headline. Or ito yung banner natin. Ito yung sinasabi kanina na pwede siyang, hindi siya mag-run doon across the page. Pwede siyang dito, maputol siya. And so, yung deck is sub-headline. Related pa din siya dito. Kumbaga, let's try to imagine this one, no criminal charges over hostage fiasco. And so, meron siyang iba't ibang news articles. Let's say, for example, just like that. Meron siya, isa ka main headline, and then, under kay naa siya lahi-lahi nga news articles pag yan. Maybe, ang kanisya about the news itself, and kanisya about sa opinion sa isa ka prominent people about that certain issue, something like that. So, the deck, again, is the subordinate headline. Next is the columns, okay? So, columns are vertical division into parts of a newspaper. So, alin kaya dito yung part? Of course, ito po, kung nakikita po ninyo, ito po yung division, vertical division. So, let's count how many columns in a newspaper. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, there are 6 columns. However, sabi pa nga nila, yung ideal talaga daw na columns on a national paper is 8. So, yung sa mga New York Times, mayroon ako nakita na mga yung newspaper, yung New York Times, meron siyang 8 columns. Tapos, yung mga, kumbaga, yung sa school publication, mga school papers, school pub, so 5. there are 5 columns only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, meron din siyang exemption. Okay?